On today's show, the San Diego Padres complete a 3 out of 4 series W thanks to some good offense. Dylan Cease showing up, Tatis being a cutie pie, making another great defensive play, but some updates on Jackson Merrill's injury. And I'm being joined by the postcast host himself, Big Jim Gries, to talk about Jake Cronenworth because a listener has some beef. All that and more on this fun Friday. Let's get to it.
You are Locked On Padres, your daily San Diego Padres podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, which is part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day for Friday, August 22nd. As always, I'm your host with sometimes the most, Javier Reyes, and I've been covering this team for not just this podcast for almost 6 years now, I can't speak, but also for various other outlets, including justbaseball.com, chief among them. Today's episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the US of A. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary. Excludes the Masters tournament. Ends October 31st, 2025. Be sure to go check that out. And be sure to go check me out on the socials at Javapeno, JAVIIPENO, on Twitter/X and Blue Sky. And be sure to go check out my man, the co-host, the guest of today's show. You know him as doing the postcast. For those who don't know, Jim Gries. He goes live every single day after the game to just give that like fun, immediate reaction stuff. Everybody loves that. So if you ever want immediate comments and stuff, go hop on there. So he's on for this week's edition of Fun Friday. Jim, how you doing, man?
I love coming on with you because you're the only person alive who matches my energy on a show. That's the thing about you. So both of us are nuts and we're insane with our energy. The vibes are popping and I love it because we're literally on that same vibe and that same wavelength. Even if, you know, the people are still coming. In the beginning, it was a lot more like, where's Javi? Yeah. Where's Javi? Who is this guy? Where's Javi? Well, Javi's right here. And now you get both. So I think that like the postcast initiative by the network has been, this is where I become a company man right here. Are you listening, David Locke? And
right.
Here we go, Sam. All right. So this is where the network really shines in showing that it really can cover local sports on a national scale and then just aggregate all those channels together, but completely separate. But a place where the sponsors can aggregate and the fans can aggregate, but everything can still be separate by team, by city, so the local fan gets everything he or she or they need for their team, right? And the postcast has really upped that even more from what you're doing day in and day out with the team and giving all the great info and following the team. You can religiously follow the Padres day in and day out. You'll know everything about the team. Well, now you get the live reaction right here with the post game. It's on YouTube live right after. And then we upload, you download. But the thing is, Javi, the coolest part about it is they get a whole nother area and a whole nother place to interact, which is funny because you and I were just talking off the air about how we could have some fun with that. You could come in the chat and have some fun with the fans while I'm on and whatnot. And, you know, I just think
stay tuned for
cool.
that, everybody.
Yeah,
stay tuned for that, everybody. Absolutely.
Better.
We're going to talk about yesterday's game, just really quickly, talk about some Jackson Merrill news and Big Jim versus one of our listeners, the title heavyweight fight. Ding. I know you're a UFC guy. What do they say? Like Let's say ready to rumble, man. Right?
Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. I think they say ready to rumble in UFC still, right?
No, Jake Cronenworth has a little pop, man. He might take me down. I'd be a little leery if Jake came at me, man. He's a pro athlete for sure. But no, the listeners, like I love it when the listeners become engaged and they want to argue with us because that means we're doing our job. And I think we should all encourage the audience to participate in any way possible. And usually in my history, it comes in the form of me being a fool and someone calling me on it. So I'm anxious to hear what this fan has to say.
We'll see, man. That'll be fun regarding Jake Cronenworth. Yesterday, not too much to report. Everybody could check out the postcast, but my take is Padres won 8-4. It got a little bit scary. Dylan Cease's line is a little bit misleading. 5 innings, 4 earned runs on 6 hits, 2 walks, 7 Ks, but it's really more like 2 earned runs. I don't know why they didn't attribute Tatis, who I just praised at the opening of this episode, so that's funny. They didn't attribute the error to him. Arguably, the second one could have been called an error, but not really. 2 defensive miscues led to the 2 first runs at first. Cease basically just made 2 bad pitches that were 2 solo shots. So Cease got us through the day enough, and then the bullpen mowed everybody down as they usually do. Estrada, Morejon, Miller, and Suarez getting 2 strikeouts as well. Only 1 hit the rest of the way after Dylan sees. I mean, that's just absolutely crazy. And then in terms of the lineup, 2 for 5 again for Tatis with a double, by the way. Tatis has been doing a lot better lately. I know that there's been a little bit of discourse. I don't know if you see it as much, Jim, but like a lot of people being like, oh, like what happened? He's been good. And I actually have noticed like he's changed a little bit with his batting stance. He's been slugging a little bit more lately, but even if he wasn't, this is still a guy that walks a lot and it's still been great. I think that as a complete player, yeah, at the offensive side of things, we asked for more, but Tatis has been great. And I'm starting to get a little bit annoyed by people who are, it's like, I have beef with guys like Arráez, and frankly, that's it in this lineup already. But Jim's got beef with Jake, which we'll get into in a second. But
yeah,
other
Fernando,
than that,
I'm with you. I'm with you on Fernando. I just have to interject on Fernando. The only thing I want to say is he's the quietest superstar in the game right now. When he explodes, and I believe it's a when, not an if, he becomes the best player in the game. When he's really slugging, smashing balls out of the park, and the power numbers are jumping, when the average is over 300, he's right there in the conversation with Ohtani, with Judge, all of them. He is. And we saw that in March, specifically that 1 week, and then into April, right, Javi? So the all-world defense taking home runs away, throwing dudes out. You look at him, and he's hitting 270, and he's getting on base 3 times a game, scoring a ton of runs, still making the All-Star team as a very good to great player. But like I said, when he becomes Super Fernando, which I believe he will, and the fact that he hasn't yet should really scare everybody else in the NL, because he does that, man, and he becomes literally as good as anybody in the game.
Yeah, it's like when you get the fire flower at Mario. Like, you're still dangerous without it, but when you get the fire flower, that's really when we're kicking.
Exactly.
Got to give a shout out to Manny Machado as well. 627 OPS in the month of August. Not very good. Not complaining whatsoever. He's been amazing all year. He is behind Jim for all the people on YouTube. He's got it in the background. But nice game for him today. It looks like he's coming out of the slump. 2 for 4 in this game with 3 RBIs, and that's as well as stolen base for all my fantasy players out there. Bogart's got a hit, 2 RBIs with him as well. Ramon Laureano continues to be a freak of nature for this team. He'd been having a good year already, but this guy's he's slashing 333 with a 385 on base and 597 slugging. That's a 982 OPS. Absurd stuff. Overall,
10 hits
great game for the Pods.
in 7 games against the Giants for Laureano. 10 hits in 7 games. That's a good way to come to a new team, right? To just murder your opponents within the division. Yeah. And if it weren't for this obscene run for the Brewers, imagine what the Padres, because the Padres have been hotter than any team in the National League except the Brewers. The Brewers, for whatever reason, have just decided to just give themselves an 8-game lead on everybody.
Oh, what I would give to be able to play them in the playoffs. That's all I'll say about the Brewers. But let me tell you guys, there's one player in this lineup. We talk about it, Merrill a lot. Oh, but we'll actually have to talk about an update about him that actually came out after the game. But Jim has beef with Jake Cronenworth. He's had beef, and I did not realize this because I'd missed the past few postcasts. So thank you to a listener question that we're going to talk about, because it is about one Sir Jake Cronenworth, which we'll get into in just 1 second. But first, we have to talk about our friends over at the energy that helps you out for 5 hours. It's 5-hour energy, guys. Time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. This grape, ginger, and lime flavored shot brings the iconic taste of a golf course favorite to a non-alcoholic boost. Perfect for sinking birdies or making great memories with friends. It's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Whether you're out on the course or just need a little extra push to power through your day, 5-hour energy transfusion delivers the clubhouse flavor you love without ever leaving the green. And let me tell you, man, if it makes you feel great, what's the most ridiculous shot you ever made? Well, guess what? You're going to make more ridiculous shots when you're boosted with 5-hour energy. It's great. And golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. Grape, ginger, lime, flavors of 5-hour energy transfusion give you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to without leaving the course or chasing down the beverage cart. And now you can amp up the fun even more. Just buy, snap, and enter for a chance to win a dream golf trip for 2 to any golf tournament in the US of A. Tee up that trip. Visit 5hewin.com for full rules and entry. No purchase necessary, and excludes the Masters tournament and ends October 31st, 2025. Be sure to go check that cool, juicy, lovely thing out. And just like that, everybody, back here on a fun Friday edition of the Locked On Padres podcast, joined by my guy, Big Jim Gries, host of the Locked On Padres postcast, live every day right after the games. Be sure to go check that out for sure, especially during the weekend when I don't do the full show. Today, though, guys, we were just talking about the game before. We're doing the little game recap. But Jackson Merrill, we got a little bit of an update. Jeff Sanders wrote about it in the San Diego Union Tribune, but tweeted by Marty Caswell, said, Mike Schilt says Jackson Merrill has a bone bruise with an ankle sprain. They're kind of talking about they're still playing the waiting game for an IL decision. So, he's set for games right now. I talked about it in yesterday's show, my show, I should say, the full one, that, it's just unfortunate that, yes, Merrill's having a sophomore slump, but he hasn't been able to. It felt like he was starting to show some signs. He was actually hitting the ball harder. He was doing more line drives. He saw more pitches. And for him to get hurt again, it just must be frustrating. And I'm not like as concerned about him because I just think he's a young guy. I think he's just having a sophomore slump year. But it just really stinks that every time he starts to seem like it's about to happen, he falls off. So very unfortunate. But what are you going to do? But Jim, are you ready? Are you ready? Let's talk about a listener question we got yesterday from my guy Freddie Fermin Dog Watch, which is a great
Fermin
name.
With a beautiful bunt today to start that whole thing.
Yeah, right. That was great.
Inning when they had 3 bunts in a row. And how about when your stars, Fernando and Arráez, your superstar and a 3-time batting champion, are so unselfish that they're willing to drop down bunts in that situation. I can't say enough about this team.
My listeners know what I think about Arráez, so go check out that episode.
I know Arráez is your Cronenworth.
I know Arráez is my Cronenworth, but Freddie Fermin Dog Watch at at Uncooked Pickle says, Javi, I love Locked On Padres, and I'm a big fan of you and Gries's work. So look, he compliments you before he
Thank you, Freddie.
But the Gries hate out of nowhere for Jake Cronenworth should stop. LOL. It's kind of funny, but at the same time, it's very unwarranted to me. He's been complaining about him hitting 240 and that Arráez should be playing second and O'Hearn at first. Jake has one of the highest OBPs on the roster.
Freddie. Snitches get
and
stitches.
He's really better than Arráez on defense. He also has some more slug and has better play appearances than him, but that's just a thought. Thank you for all you do. And thank you, my good man, Mr. Dog Watch. Jim, here's the thing. I agree. That's right. I agree.
You agree with Freddie? I love it.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I think to an extent, there's no one on the team that I'm upset with in this lineup. To an extent. Jackson Merrill, I'm not upset because I was
with Jake, just to clear the air. I'm not upset with Jake. I'm upset with Mike Schilt for playing Jake every day. I'm not upset with Jake. That's
and my take is it should be Arráez that's not playing.
Jake's doing little Jake. He's doing the best he can.
I will say this with Jake Cronenworth, this past month, in the month of August, he has a 769 OPS, right? And on the year, if you use WRC plus, a little bit more advanced metric, he's about a 1'15" type of guy. Luis Arráez is like 103. So here's what I see about this.
What does all that mean, Javi? Tell this
what
Gen
it means.
Xer.
WRC plus is like a really solid stat that just takes ballpark factor, and if you're getting lucky, that sort of stuff into it. 100 means you are an average major league hitter. That's good. And then every point above 100, if you're 103, you're 3% better than the average.
Well,
right?
What does it combine? What does it combine to give you that metric?
A bunch of things. It's called weighted runs created, basically. So it takes into account all those things.
I love the modern stats. I geek out on them. I just don't know them like you do.
No, I totally get it. I didn't know it before hosting this podcast. And I think that with Arráez, I actually think my bigger beef with Arráez, and I talked about this yesterday, so I'm not going to relitigate too much, is just where he is in the order. I'd much rather if he was lower. But for me, Cronenworth, I just can't get upset, or even, I'm not upset at all, because bottom line is, Luis Arráez has just been a guy that there's been too often times when he swings at pitches that I don't like. But more importantly, with Jake Cronenworth, I like that he's been good in the clutch this year. I feel like would be my biggest kind of endorsement for him, right? This year, when it comes to runners in scoring position, Jake Cronenworth is hitting. Let me see if I could get it really quickly. He's got a 131 WRC plus, and for slash line people enthusiasts, he's batting 280 with a 388 on base and a 415 slug. So he's not hitting the crap out of the ball. He's not hitting home runs, but he just puts together more productive at bats. And for me, that's why I can't possibly get annoyed with him, because he's the 8th hitter, right? The fact that Jake Cronenworth is the 8th hitter on this team is insane. Point blank. Like that is a good thing for this team. And for me, I just think that Arráez, we don't have the version of Arráez that we got. I love how I said to listen to yesterday's episode, but I'm still going to talk about it anyway. I just don't think we've had the complete version of Arráez that he was previously. And with the Padres, he is a good player. I think that in some playoff games, I might prefer him over Jake Cronenworth. I'll tell you, certainly though, Ryan O'Hearn should, I think we both agree on this. Ryan O'Hearn should never sit. And especially to give Arráez at bats. That should never happen. Like,
well,
that's
he
just
should never
crazy.
sit to give Cronenworth at bat. So you and I think the same exact thing. We
Mhm.
just flip-flop Arráez and Cronenworth. And that's the only – so here's the thing. Cronenworth had, 17 home runs and about 80 RBIs last year, I want to say. He's had 2 years like that in his career. But look at his average, dude. The thing about him is he's 229, 240, 238 maybe this year, I want to say. He's not a great defensive player. Let me repeat that. He's not. He's got 450-plus starts at second in his career. He's actually started almost 250 games at first base. But Ryan O'Hearn is your everyday first baseman. Period, point blank, end of story. So the fact that Jake Cronenworth has become my target, I honestly think I'm an old sports radio guy. So emphasis on sports radio guy, not old. Don't look at the grays or the whites. Don't let them fool you. You're only as old as you act and as old as you feel. But I want to say this about Ryan O'Hearn versus Jake Cronenworth. Luis Arráez is a 3-time batting champion. Okay, he's in the middle of everything between Fernando and Manny. You almost couldn't get a better hitter anywhere in Major League Baseball to hit second. I don't know why. I can't understand why you would hate a guy like that. And the guy moves from second to first, and he's played a lot of first and a lot of second in his career. Not the best second baseman in the world, but neither is Jake Cronenworth, right? So my thing is this: you're going to need to score runs, and unless the Padres fix their starting pitching, this is going to be a moot point anyway, because if Dylan Cease doesn't come around and King can't come back, there's no way you're even going to get to that incredible bullpen. The starters have to stop giving up 4 or 5 runs every other time out, or this team's cooked anyway. They're not going to score enough runs. But to take a 3-time champ out of the lineup to have a guy like Jake Cronenworth in, I just don't understand why anyone would pick Jake over Arráez. And the fact that he's hitting 8th, I don't put any weight on that. This is not the Rockies. This is not the Marlins. This is not the White Sox. He shouldn't be on the field or in the lineup, period, under any circumstances. Iglesias should be the guy they cycle through second,
No,
third,
come on.
to give the DH days.
Stop
That's what I'm going to say it. He should be that guy.
Stop
all right,
it.
Laureano solidified left field. O'Hearn has to be your first baseman, Javi. He has to be your first baseman every day. He hits lefties. He's an all-star. He has power numbers on a team devoid of power numbers, especially with Merrill out. But O'Hearn, as an everyday first baseman, he'll hit you 30-plus home runs. You know what I mean? So when I think about him and his arc and what he brings to the team, he should be your first baseman. Arráez should be your second baseman. He's played plenty there. And I believe that on top of that, Gavin Sheets should be seeing a lot more action on more of an everyday basis. And I don't understand why Mike Schilt can't see what I see and what almost everybody can see. So it's become probably a little bit of a Jake Cronenworth targeting, but only because, in my opinion, he's the guy. He's like the coach's kid in Little League that starts over you in All-Stars and you're 10 times better than him, but he's the coach's. Well, how is he Mike Schilt's favorite? What has he done? He's nowhere near the caliber of hitter Luis Arráez is. Not on anybody's planet. There's no way. Luis Arráez is a 3-time batting champ.
I don't care. I don't care.
3-time batting champ.
I don't care. I don't care.
Look what he's doing right now. He's a 280 hitter. Just go by this year.
It doesn't matter because he's not fast. He doesn't. By the way, Jake Cronenworth better at second base than Arráez, but he hasn't been as good this year. I think part of that has been because he played first for 2 years, and that was never supposed to be his position. So I think that's been a result of it. Do you want to go with OPS? Is OPS a stat you will appreciate?
I appreciate OPS. I do.
This year, Luis Arráez, his OPS not as good. And here's the thing: regular Arráez, yes. This is a guy who had the advanced stats. This guy hit 354 one year when he was those 2 years with Miami. He was excellent. But
314 last year.
But for me right now, what I'm looking at is he has 717 OPS this year. And what does Jake Cronenworth have? 738. Now, here's the thing. If it depends on who the matchup is, righty-lefty, Jake Cronenworth, a 70, he's like, or I'm not sorry, not Jake Cronenworth. Luis Arráez has like an 80 WRC plus, 20% less than league average against lefties. Cronenworth doesn't have the same crazy thing, but depending on the matchup, I think it's O'Hearn and Sheets should be starting every day. And then depending on the matchup, I wouldn't mind putting Arráez at second base. But I think it's, as of right now, it's between those two for sure. And I think that Arráez just, I like the batting average. That's great. But if you're going to be swinging at as many pitches as he does, and more importantly, I hate the zombie pitch thing that he does. I think that's his worst attribute by far. Yeah. Who do you think
I think he needs to take more pitches and more first pitches too. With the average that he hits for, I think that's worth 10 points to his average if he takes more pitches. I agree with you there. And that bunt he laid down today was beautiful. I love the way he plays the game. He's a smart player in between Manny and Fernando. But down in the bottom of the order, Javi, it's more of a, and I hate that it devolves into a Jake Cronenworth hate fest. I don't want that. What I want to say is that Ryan O'Hearn is as smooth as silk left-handed power hitter, and I would much rather have him in the lineup than Jake Cronenworth. And if the choice comes down to moving Arráez over to do that, I literally think it's a no-brainer, Arráez over Cronenworth. And then maybe if you want to make Cronenworth the guy who, because he can play third, he can play second. He's not as good as Iglesias defensively. Not many people are. And so Iglesias gives you that incredible X factor to play second, short, third, give guys a DH day, maybe a day off here and there. But I believe your everyday lineup, enough with the matchups, the everyday lineup right now should literally be Fernando, Arráez, Manny, right? And then when Merrill comes back, I believe Merrill and O'Hearn 4 and 5 somewhere in there. And then Bogarts, we haven't talked about him coming on lately. And I think that the bottom of that lineup solidified with Laureano and Fermin, occasionally Diaz, with Cronenworth out of there, weighing it down with the Albatross and the 230 average. That will elevate the entire team because O'Hearn, see, I did it again. Sorry, Jake. So, and that's my son's name, Jake. But the point, having O'Hearn in there in the middle of that lineup with Manny, you know what I mean, with Manny and with Merrill, because you have a unique situation when you're the Padres. And the unique situation is that one of your better power hitters, and what do you call them? Slashers in the lineup is Fernando Tatis, right? When he starts, what do you call it? When he starts slashing, right? It's unique that he's a leadoff hitter and not in the 3, 4, or 5 hole. So you have to fortify that 3, 4, 5 area. Enter Ryan O'Hearn. He's an all-star this year, voted in by his peers as a DH. And then you have Gavin Sheets. Javi, can I just ask you, where would the Padres be right now without Gavin Sheets and what he did?
I mean, he's been a superhero, man. And here's the thing: we're gonna see. I'm really curious to see what Mike Schultz does with the lineup this weekend. I doubt he's gonna take out Arráez. I doubt he's going to take out Cronenworth, especially with Merrill. So that's the other thing. This is a moot point. This is a moot point right now because Gavin Sheet, every one of these guys is going to play because of Jackson Merrill's injury. But we'll still have to see. And who are they playing this weekend, Jim?
Oh, that would be the team from Chavez de Stinkhole coming down the road a little bit. But I can't wait for this series.
Is right. And we're going to talk about them in just 1 second. And just like that, folks, sorry for the really whatever it's called transition. What's the word?
My fault.
Abrupt.
Jim's
fault. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We are back here, Locked On Padres, thriving and vibing as always. Really quickly, this weekend we're going to see what happens. I personally, everybody, by the way, leave comments below. I'd love to know what you guys think about Arráez versus Cronenworth, how you feel about the lineup and whatnot. And then, of course, go check out my full breakdown of my personal Padres lineup, which I released on Thursday. So go check that out. But quickly, let's talk about the Dodgers series. Didn't go great last time. The matchups for this series, it's going to be Yu Darvish versus Blake Snell on Friday. Then Nestor Cortez and Tyler Glasnow on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know how. And bias aside, but genuinely, I don't know how this isn't Sunday Night Baseball, but Nick Pivetta versus Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Come on, man. ESPN, what are you doing? Wake up. Come. Who do they have on there? Let me guess. The Yankees, because they're playing.
Let me see.
Oh, wait, that's why.
I got to pull this up. Is it Yankees Red Sox?
I bet you it's because it's Yankees Red Sox. It's probably that. I bet you it's Yankees Red Sox for Sunday Night Baseball, because I think they're playing this weekend, if I'm not mistaken. So
let me see. I'll tell you right now. While you set us up, I will tell you right now, Yankees, Red Sox. Yeah, they're starting a 4-game.
It's Sunday Night
today.
Baseball.
Yep.
It's a Sunday Night Baseball.
That's record on a
baseball
Thursday.
fans know that it's all about. Now, I will say the Yankees and Red Sox are both pretty decent this year. So look, there have been many more egregious years when they've made
should be Sunday Night Baseball though. Why not?
Why not? Right?
Why wouldn't they both? ESPN and ESPN.
Let's have rivalry night. Let's have rivalry night. A classic rivalry, and then the current big rivalry that's really the most relevant in baseball. But anyway, what are you looking for in this series? Me personally, hey, Tatis talked about it last weekend. I was hoping that he would, because he historically plays very well against the Dodgers, and he had a okay weekend. He had a couple nice hits. He had a couple two walk games. That was nice, but maybe he can bring it back this weekend. But I'm just hoping that the Padres show up, because if they win 2 out of 3, you're in hold of the division, and you've got an easy schedule for the rest of the way. So this is a huge series. They have to bounce back, man.
Yeah, 2 out of 3, and you're tied. If you lose 2 out of 3, we don't want to talk about that, right? So you win 2 out of 3, you leave tied. Also, a game behind the Cubs for the top spot in the wild card race. And I believe, 3.5, maybe 4.5 ahead of the Mets, who are in the 3rd spot. So the Padres are starting to really seize control in the playoff race and establish a foothold. So I don't think they're going anywhere. I talked earlier about the starting pitching, Javi. this is the weekend it has to start. They fell apart. Cease and then Darvish in Los Angeles, and obviously Michael King went to the IL. He was supposed to start the opener, so that was a disastrous chain of events while they were in the middle of a big win streak. They're peaking, playing their best ball of the season. But what I love about this series coming up, and I don't love Jackson Merrill being out of any series. I love the way he plays defense, I love all that stuff. But for a player whose game is based on his explosiveness and built around it, an ankle is something you really have to take seriously. Back to this weekend, maybe without him, right? So the two guys I'm looking at, you said one of them is Fernando. Fernando plays great against the Dodgers. He's the quietest superstar in the game when he's not slashing, when he's not hitting homers, when he's not ripping balls, the power numbers all over the yard. He's still on base 3 times a game, 2 times a game, scoring a run, driving in a run, scratching it out, bunting, taking an extra base, robbing homers, throwing dudes out. He's still an amazing player.
All-around great player, yeah.
He can be the difference maker in the series, and so can... Why you bugging? Manny Machado. He is on fire right now. And you know how Manny goes when he starts to catch that run. He just caught it at the end of the Giants series. Watch out. I think Manny's going to rip the Dodgers apart this weekend, along with Fernando. I don't know if you're going to sweep them. I say 2 out of 3, but maybe a sweep. And when I say the starting pitching had better get it going right now, Javi, I'm saying Yu Darvish needs to set the tone.
Yeah.
Yu Darvish needs to come out and be playoff Yu Darvish like last year and win that opener. Because the bullpen's going to be fine, but you did use everybody but Adam today. So it'd be nice to see Yu Darvish give you 5-6 innings, hold the Dodgers down. Because what happens, it didn't play in to the series last weekend, but this series I believe it will. Who has one of the worst bullpens in baseball? The Dodgers. Who has one of the best? The Padres, maybe the best, right? So you get into the battle of the bullpens, along with Manny and Tati being hot going in. I think this is a big weekend for the Padres at Petco. A lot of people partying in the gas lamp and us having a great time with our shows.
Absolutely, man. And look, I agree with you. I think I was just about to bring up Darvish. Had a nice little stretch right before last weekend, right? He had a game against the Mets, 7 innings, no runs, 7 Ks. He was not great against Arizona. It's a little bit of a tough team, 4 innings, 3 earned runs. Then he was great against San Fran, 6 innings, 1 run allowed. And then he gets hit up by the Dodgers. He, not
just the first inning. He bounced back.
Just the first inning, though. He did bounce back, and let's give him another 3. Darvish historically in his career has been amazing against the Dodgers. But I still want to see it. I want to see that he's working his way back and we get a little bit, because this is a guy where his value is about the playoffs. Yu Darvish. That's where his value is at this stage of his career. He can still help us throughout the regular season, but in the playoffs, I really do believe that Dylan Cease is not going to be one of the first 3 starters. He just can't right now, right? Like he just hasn't shown enough. Regularly, he should be.
It's
but
got to be Darvish with Pivetta and King, you're thinking?
I think it's going to be those 2, unless Joe Musgrove low-key has been Wolverining himself back, which Wolverine. They said, he's
Don't
been
tease
trying.
Me, Javi. Don't tease
He's been
me.
trying. He said he was trying to get back if they have a playoff
run. I love
run.
Joe Musgrove. I love everything. Can I ask you real quick? I just have to ask you about these lefties, because we have Cortez on Saturday, right? And JP Sears just threw a hell of a game, even though his debut was crap. He threw a hell of a game, right? But Nestor's been okay. He bounced back from that terrible 3 home runs in the first inning, and everybody seemed to catch that. But of those 2, in a right-hander dominated rotation, do you think either of those guys is going to help them down the stretch or in the playoffs? One of those 2, and can one of those guys be a lefty in a playoff rotation?
I don't think that. I think they're basically just here to get them over the finish line to the playoffs, right? Okay. Like I think they're going to have to, in a 4 or 5 game series, we're going to have to use Cease. Like you just have to. The upside is there, even if it hasn't been here this year. They're probably going to go in that direction. Maybe Musgrove comes back. Maybe Matt Waldron makes an appearance.
What do you think?
A start. For Cease, it's got to be a start. But I will say,
not Cease. I mean the lefties. Either one. Would they get a playoff start, or would they be long relief?
Maybe they do a bullpen day. Maybe they just screwed and say bullpen day. Randy Vasquez, you pitch to. Matt Waldron, you pitch to. Maybe JP Sears. Maybe Nestor Cortez. I will say that Nestor Cortez, higher strikeout upside. I think he's just been a little bit better in that degree, and he has had. Like when he first came up for the Yankees, there's a reason why this guy became famous with the Yankees. Like he really started
before
off
Freddie Freeman's
unbelievable. Homer. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That was, which by the way, not even his fault. Like I don't know why Boone brought him in. Like ridiculous. Just still one of the crazier. He hadn't pitched in like 2 months.
Oh my god!
Brought him in to face Fred. You remember that, right? Like that was
every
insane.
Padre fan wanted to.
So Mike Schilt. Jim's like, you know what, Mike, I apologize to you. I forgot that it could be worse sometimes. Like, it was unbelievable stuff. But Jim, any final words before we close this bad boy out and let the good people enjoy the series? Because I'm really excited. And I don't think people should let last weekend's series make them think that that's just what it's always going to be, because it's not. You know what I mean? And this team has also beaten the Dodgers in the playoffs before. So, let's show up.
I like that. I like that confident attitude. Act like you've been there and that you know what to do once you get there. Again, Manny and Fernando going to be red hot this weekend. I like Darvish to get him off to the hot start. I hope Nestor can get it done on Saturday, and then we know what Pavetta's done. I mean, 8-2 after a loss. 10-3 is the team's record when he picks up the ball and takes the mound after the Padres lose. But my final word, okay, I want to thank this group right here. And it starts with you, Javi. You've created an incredible group on this channel. The fans here, they love you. They're loyal. I'm blessed to be able to do the postcast and be a part of the Padre universe. This was not something that I planned on this year. You're selling it. And Ryan O'Hearn said it beautifully. There, back to Ryan O'Hearn every day, Ryan O'Hearn. So I go back to O'Hearn. He said it after the game the other night. He's like, man, we're selling out on Mondays and Tuesdays. This is freaking amazing to play in a place where we sell out on Mondays and Tuesdays, to see the passion that the fans have in and around that stadium and that area, Javi, and to feel it every day on the shows that you and I do. What we have here is special. What you have as a Padres fan, to be a part of an organization and a group like this, it's special. But this year in and of itself, I think it has the potential to be an incredibly special year by the time, maybe the most special in Padres franchise history. Yes, I said that. So let's all really enjoy the ride together. Keep on watching Javi every day. Keep on coming in for the postcast after every game. We'll do our job the best we can. You do yours, and hopefully the boys will do theirs, and it'll be a hell of a ride through October.
Absolutely, man. Padre land is a movement. And also join the Locked On Padres movement. Of course, you've been listening to the Locked On Padres podcast, the best podcast. Hold on, the only pod that may be better than the Padres themselves. Remember, subscribe wherever you get your podcast from. Stay tuned for the weekend for all the postcasts by my man Big Jim. We'll be going live after every game. Stay tuned for Monday's game for the mailbag. Send questions, comments. Tell me which side are you with? Freddie Fermin enthusiast Twitter guy, right? Or Jim when it comes to the great Jake Cronenworth debate. Let me know. We'll be answering those questions on Monday. But until that next time, stay safe and, of course, stay faithful. My faithful homies. Take care.